Hi, I'm Sumukh and this is the first episode of 10 Years No Booze. I'll be talking today about stopping drinking, and maybe you're watching this not even drinking particularly, but stopping anything potentially addictive or that you just don't enjoy anymore that may not be helpful for you. From my perspective and my experience, in order to stop, I should probably share with you how it even started. And in college, I was not much of a drinker, but it's not as if the stereotypes associated with drinking didn't pervade in my mind. You know, thinking of Animal House and that type of thing, of drinking equated to partying and socialization. And as someone who was always shy growing up, still have those shy or introvert tendencies, it made it difficult to socialize. So alcohol allowed for me, at the crux of it, to be more social, to be someone that I wasn't. But that element of someone that I wasn't also played a role in depression that I had had since I was a teen. Again, it went unchecked in certain ways, and so alcohol then becomes an escapism from oneself and one's depression. So that was the crux of my issue. Of course, this didn't really actually come on until I was 21 and I started to do stand-up comedy, which was great. I still love stand-up comedy, but in doing it and starting to do it, I suddenly was part of something that I felt accepted in for the first time, felt very motivated in, loved it. But where I started in Columbus, and this happens in many cities, the culture that surrounded stand-up there at the time within comedy, within that arts community, involved alcohol. Our shows were in bars. The people doing it just drank a lot of alcohol. It was part of the culture. And as things progressed, I'll say this, and this is from Drinking a Love Story by Caroline Knapp. I highly suggest reading this book if you never have. That was published in the 90s, and sadly Caroline Knapp has passed away since then. It is an excellent book in just understanding and relating to the experience, and I could at least very specifically to this. And so this is from chapter 2. The phrase is high-functioning alcoholic, smooth and ordered on the outside, rolling and chaotic and desperately secretive underneath, but not noticeably so, never noticeably so. And that describes me and my experience very well. When I drank, I was certainly far more social, but I was never a problem. I never got into fights with people. I never got a DUI. I was really skilled at being able to drink, but also still maintaining my job, my intelligence, my ethics, things of that nature, the values that were a part of me. But I still wanted to be able to be social and drink and be part of that crowd. So I was balancing both and was skilled at doing that. But what was actually going on is I might have seemed perfectly normal in a community where a lot of other people were drinking and didn't seem to be a problem and seemed to be social. But once I got back to my apartment was when the true sad, depressive nature, it was a battle within myself when it came down to it with drinking. So I was 30 and I made the decision to stop drinking. April 2015 was a particularly emotional time in so many different ways. But it's very cliche, but I was extremely hungover and had a hard look in the mirror at myself. And this is where the determination went from being high-functioning alcoholic to now high-functioning non-alcoholic, and basically saying to myself, look, do you want to keep doing this? Because you can stop now in feeling miserable. I was now, in an effort to get away from not liking myself, I drank. But now I did not like the person I was when I drank. So stop now was my mindset before this gets worse, because there were enough examples even within that community in comedy where I had seen it get worse. I've lost friends to alcoholism within comedy. They've passed, or seen addiction and knocked down drunks, or variety of different addictions. I didn't want that to become me, and that is why I made the decision to stop. In January 2015, I had actually given my partner at the time an ultimatum for her to stop drinking, and she did. I was proud of her for that. And in April, I made the decision myself, and that kept that relationship going for a while, united in that. So, again, it helped having a support system too when stopping, but and that's essential, I'd say. But again, to the point of stopping, it has to come from within the person. Whether you end up getting an intervention, whatever the case may be, there's a long look that any person has to take to decide to stop anything, and in my case, stopping drinking. And that's really what led to it. Now, I just stopped. I did not use Alcoholics Anonymous, but I will talk in the next episode about Alcoholics Anonymous, because there's a lot that can come with that, and people feel a stigma even towards that. They feel a stigma to begin with to stopping drinking, or what it means to even say alcoholic or high-functioning alcoholic there. And I still deal with that myself and the stigma, but I can say I've stopped drinking, and that is that. And I'm now 10 years in, and it feels great and was the best decision for me. But again, I'll get into the next episode to talking about AA. I didn't choose to do that, but that does not mean there are not people that need that, and that it has its benefits. And in no way is anything I'm going to do here feel judgmental towards any decision. The main goal is stopping drinking, stopping the addiction, and doing what is best for yourself, and honestly, in my mind, what is best for others. And that's why I'm doing these episodes and making this series to begin with 10 years later in a retrospective. So that covers it, at least generally, to stopping drinking. What I want out of this series is, again, feel free to comment. Feel free, if you've stopped, if you haven't stopped, you're thinking about it. I look for this to also be a community-oriented experience where people can feel free to comment and to connect. But look forward to the next episode, and what we'll do in further episodes is really get much more deeper into all of this when it comes to my personal experience with it, and just providing some humor at times, since I am a stand-up comedian, but hope as well for all of you, because I can sit here 10 years from now, or 10 years now from when I stopped, in such a better situation and feeling when it relates to so many things. Doesn't mean the depression isn't still there, it's a disease, but just a lot better. Right now, for example, I gotta get going. I'm gonna go have breakfast with a friend, and then after that I'm going to another friend's party where we'll meet their baby. Gotta see the baby. So that's exciting, and I'm doing that on a Sunday, and I can tell you it feels so much better to do that now and not extremely hungover on a Sunday where I may not even be able to go do that. Well, hey, take care, good care, and I'll see you next time.